All right. Okay. The Plan Commission of the City of Glendale is now in session. Would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And I'm actually going to ask our Fire Chief, Robert Whitaker, if he'll lead us in the pledge. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Chief. All right, the first item on our agenda tonight is the adoption of minutes for our meeting held on April 12th. Could I have a motion to adopt the minutes for our last meeting, please?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Seligman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Nelson. Any corrections? Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Any abstentions? All right, the minutes are approved. Okay, we have 6 items of new business this evening. The first is occupancy and use approval, discussion and possible action for occupancy use approval for Prolific Realty Group to occupy one of the buildings on Ironwood, the Ironwood buildings. This is 5205 North Ironwood Road, Suite 219. And I'll turn it over to staff for a description of the project. Mr. Fellows. There you go.
Application.
So you're going to need to
For-
move the microphone right in front of you.
For Prolific Realty,
Yeah.
they are looking to open up a real estate office. It is just a general office type facility in the B1. B1 does require review by the Planning Commission. There's nothing particularly unique about their office space, except it's just a real estate office, so.
Okay. And is there someone here from Prolific Realty? Wonderful. Would one of you want to, or however many of you want to speak about your project, if you'd like to come up and introduce yourself, please. Hello. So when you go to speak, you'll need to sit down so the microphone can hear you. When you go to speak, just, if the little red light here is coming on, then they'll be able to hear you. So
Hello.
perfect. So if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little about your company and why you chose Glendale.
Hi, my name is Natay Nash and I'm with Prolific Realty Group along with Tiffany Moore and Tiffany Griffin. We are the owners. We chose Glendale because we're just familiar with Glendale. Glendale is a great community. We want to be a part of Glendale. Glendale is making some great changes. It's growing with all the new businesses in the area. So we want to be a part of that.
Okay, thank you. Just a couple of questions. Is it
Sure.
primarily residential real estate or commercial real estate? What's your specialty?
Residential, commercial, and investments.
Okay, fantastic. And how many staff, how many people do you employ?
Currently, we have, besides the 3 of us, we have 6 agents.
Okay, fantastic. That's all the questions I had. I'll turn it over to the commission. Any commissioners have questions? Commissioner Seligman?
I don't have a question. Actually, I have a comment for the staff, which is actually for staff, which is to make sure that the agenda has the street number on it as well as the street. It was a little tricky to just find the street number we were looking up.
The memo doesn't have the street number.
Oh.
It is on the agenda, but it's not on the memo attached.
Sorry, that I see that
Yep.
that was just a, yep.
Welcome to Glendale.
Thank you.
Any other questions from members of the commission? Okay, we do have a staff recommendation for to grant use and occupancy approval subject to the 5 conditions outlined in staff memo. Would someone like to make a motion?
So moved.
Okay, I heard, well, okay, Commissioner Reek and Commissioner Nelson will be a first and second, or however Nicole wants to record it. So, okay, any further discussion by members of the commission? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? Motion carries.
Thank you all.
Welcome. Okay, our second item this evening is also an occupancy and use approval. This is for CMJ electrical contractor to occupy the space at 2305 West Camden Road. This is an M1 warehouse light manufacturing office and service district. I'll turn it over to staff.
I think, Mayor, you kind of summed it up. It is an electrical business contractor. They're going to have their office there, warehouse. They don't anticipate any commercial or traffic from the general public. It'll just basically be their workers. coming in the morning and going off to do their work and then coming back at the end of the day. They anticipate a 9.5-hour workday, possibly up to 20 people at any one given time. But again, that's probably just going to be at peak moments at the beginning and the end of the day.
Okay, thank you. Evening?
Afternoon.
Yeah, I guess it is, whatever. Okay. If you could introduce yourself, please. And
My name is Bill Langhoff, and
Mhm.
I'm with Long Yard Investments. I own the building, and I was asked yesterday by CMJ to appear because Jose Reyes, the owner of CMJ Electric, is unable to be here. So I own the building. I January it.
Okay, thank you. The only question I'd have is, do you know, are they moving or is it a new business? Are they moving from somewhere else? And if so, do you know where they're moving from?
They're relocating from, it's on Summer Avenue, which is just north of downtown, where very near the Fiserv Forum. It's an industrial property that they're being pushed out because a large tenant is taking the entire property. It's a multi-tenant environment. And their broker brought them to me, and we worked out a deal, and they have signed a 5-year lease in this building.
And are they occupying the whole building?
Yes.
Okay,
And the building is 5,000 square feet. It's 1,000 square feet of office space right along Camden Road. And then the back of the building is 4,000 square feet of just wide open warehouse space with a grade level drive-in door.
thank you. Any other questions from members of the commission? No, okay. We do have a staff recommendation that we grant use and occupancy approval subject to the 5 conditions outlined in the staff memo. Can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Bailey. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Cohn. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our third item is a planned sign program amendment. This is for general capital, and this is for the large development, the Glendale Market at 6960 North Port Washington Road. I'll turn it over to staff.
Mayor, just before I forget, we do have the applicants there actually on the Zoom call this evening. Both Jeff Brown and I believe Jamie from Roundy's is on the call also. Essentially, this master sign program has been around, let's say just give or take about 20 years since the development was created, and there's been a number of changes with signage as well as the major tenant. So currently, the major tenant has channel letters that are mounted on the canopy of the building. Metro Market has a little bit different branding, and the master sign program is very specific to what the anchor tenants branding is. And so that's one reason for the change. The second reason for the change is originally the center had a halo illumination for the smaller tenants, which is the light was basically projecting onto the wall of the building. And since with various changes with signage and desires, they'd like to actually have what a lot of people have is the standard channel letters. So this document that's before you is addressing 2 issues. One, the smaller tenants, as well as the major tenants in the center. With an approval this evening, that will allow us to issue the building permit or the sign permits for the Metro Market. And then going forward, any smaller tenant signs that meet the standards would be able to be approved by staff fairly rapidly.
Okay, I just have one question for you. Is this increasing the number of signs, or is it just replacing them with a different kind of sign? Same number of sign, same amount of signage on the building?
Same amount of signs. It's really just changing the illumination standards for the smaller tenants, and then for the for Roundy's, it would just be replaced. They currently have 2 pick and saves, and it would be replaced with 2 Metro Markets. We did have a discussion I have with General Capital with regard to additional signage. And there were some comparisons with some other developments, and we're going to keep those conversations going. And you might see this back wanted to this forward so we could get the permit issued for Roundy's.
Okay, so we
For the
may
two
see an
signs.
additional amendment to the sign agreement, but for right now,
It's, and that would entail additional signage for the major tenant, but
Okay.
at this time, it would not increase the number of signs.
okay. And that's why I asked the question, because, okay, perfect. All right, I don't have any additional questions. I'll open up to members of the commission. All right, we do have a recommendation from staff that we approve the amendment to the planned sign program for general capital to allow for the change in the signage as Pick and Save switch changes over to a Metro Market. There are 4 conditions here in the staff memo. Can I get a motion, please?
Actually, there weren't any. The 4 items.
Oh,
were-
yeah, those are the 4 changes.
So the
Got it.
4 items were just a summary of the changes. So-
Right, sorry, no conditions. It's just a motion to approve the amendment. Thank you for catching that. Moved by Commissioner Cohen. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Story. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you. And thank you to the folks from Roundy's and General Capital for being on the call. Sorry, we didn't have any questions for you, but thanks for being there in case we did. All right, the next item, this is for an addition to the Ampco Pumps Building at 2045 West Mill Road. Turn it over to staff.
This is a business in Glendale that's been here for about 12 years. It is owned by Mike Nicholson, and we've been working for the last month to review their project. It is an addition at the rear of the building. You'll see a little bit of it from the road, but most of it will be hidden from the existing building. In the report is a summary of their business operations, as well as a little bit more information on what they manufacture. Sorry, I have a pop-up screen that just blocked my view. Essentially, as I mentioned, the building's in the back. They're using the same materials as the existing building. The rear addition is going to be for a warehouse component. It is going to be a little bit taller than the existing building. If you're standing at the street in front of the building, I don't believe you're going to see the extra height. If you're looking at the building slightly from an angle like through their parking lot, you will see a little bit of that portion of the building popping up. Just as a reminder, there is the berm behind the building, so it's not adjacent to any other residential or business type buildings. The lighting meets our standards, and there is 7 recommendations on the report. A lot of these are pretty standard. The one I do want to call out is the stormwater management is still being reviewed by our engineer. They don't see any major issues. They just didn't have enough time to get a full summary back out, but we've communicated between MSI and city engineering. I think everything will be fine. We'll just need to wrap those things up prior to building permits.
We can still grant approval, just subject to staff signing off on the stormwater management plan.
Correct.
Okay,
Usually there's a preliminary review. It's not a final review. So it's usually there's a preliminary review before planning commission with a formal letter from Clark Dietz, and then the final is done right before permits. They just didn't have a chance to, do a full analysis,
okay,
but they
thank you.
don't see any concerns.
Is there somebody here representing Ampco? Good evening. You want to come up and take a seat there, and make sure you speak directly into the mic. Ever since we moved into the new city hall, these mics are so tricky. They're not right in front of your mouth, about 3 inches away. They don't pick you up, and they keep cutting out, and the folks on the Zoom can't hear you. So
Okay, good evening.
perfect. If you could tell us your name and tell us a little about the need here to expand the business. This is not your first edition, so obviously you're growing.
Right, I'm Jay Craig with MSI General, and I have Joel Wilde with me as well. He's from Ampco Pumps. We did a small addition for them. Well, the initial addition we did for them after they purchased the building back in 2013, and then we did another small addition in 2018 of 6,000 square feet. This addition will be for 17,000 square feet, and it's due to their rapid growth. They're looking to almost double their revenue over the next 5 years based on their production estimates. So this building has it's primarily warehouse. It does have an accommodation for a crane within the building. That's the reason for the taller roof line on part of it. but we are going to match the existing stone exterior, so it'll look very similar.
Okay, and you actually answered my question. I was going to ask why the addition's taller, but okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Sure.
I'll turn it over then to members of the commission if you have any questions. No? Okay, we do have a recommendation from staff that we grant approval subject to 7 conditions. And obviously, the staff did explain the last one being the stormwater management agreement. So can I have a motion then to approve subject to the 7 conditions? Moved by Commissioner Cohen. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Reek. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep, and thanks for growing and staying in Glendale. So-
Our pleasure.
All right, the next item is fence and landscaping review for Napleton Lexus of Milwaukee, 1433 West Silver Spring Drive. Turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor. You recall last month, we approved building modifications and site modifications for Napleton Lexus of Milwaukee. One of the items was some security fencing that was deferred to staff to coordinate with the Napleton staff. I think we came up with a solution that works well with our design standards and provides some of the security that they're looking for. The fence, they essentially have 4 driveways. The 2 driveways to the east of the main facility, those gates will be sort of in line with the building. And then the other 2 driveways, the gates are actually going to be behind that linked element. So sort of that front parking lot will still be generally open, but then the full rear storage area of the facility will be have gates that will be sliding gates and locked. And if you give me a second, I'll pull up those drawings. And I think Fred is on the call. He may have some additional comments that he might want to say from Napleton's point of view.
Hi, yeah, I'm calling in. Thanks for accommodating me on Zoom. But I think Malik, our GM, is also present there in the room with you all. But yeah, I'd worked with John on kind of accommodating the design intent of the Silver Spring Drive and Glendale's design requirements. And we think that this is a really good solution. We get the safety and security that has been an issue and a concern from ownership, while it's still providing a really a welcoming street presence. And so I think we're really happy with this and are looking forward to getting this project underway.
Thank you. Fred, I just have one question. Will this be fencing that goes all the way around the building or just along the front side? Or is it just the gates that are going to be just along the driveways, but you won't have fencing for, say, pedestrians or whatever?
That's correct. So there's no fence along the front. It's just the sliding gates, and those have a backspan. So that's kind of why it's a larger element. And so I'm showing the full extent, kind of just to prove it out that it fits within that the sort of front yard of that easternmost property.
Basically, you're just trying to deny egress or ingress into the property when the property's closed, the gates would be closed, so you can't get in with a car, but a pedestrian walking along, if they wandered a row in or something, looked at a car, they wouldn't be able to steal it and take it out of the lot, but they'd be able to at least like see them and stuff. They're not going to be totally behind fences.
Yes, that's correct. However, we do park along the front, along Silver Spring. Those are sort of demonstration show cars, and those will, remain sort of unprotected, as it were. But the rear of the lot, as John mentioned, and the new parking that was just finished a couple months ago, that is all secure. I will mention that there is fencing between the 2 gates that are on the west part, not there. Yeah, that's where John is showing that is existing, or that is fencing that's going in. And then at the back between the 2 gates, we are showing fencing there. And that's kind of just to create a solid barrier there, which I think you'll understand.
Sure. And obviously you guys have invested a lot in the property. I mean, the Lexus portion of it looks really good. We already approved the addition and the walkway across, as well as the redesign of the other building. You know, we've not been excited about fencing. However, I think this does match the character of the building itself, and the fact you're just using it to block the driveway in and out, or the driveways in and out. Yeah, I asked that question because I would have been concerned if it looked like prison fencing all the way along Silver Spring. But if the gates are just in front of the driveways, then I think that certainly alleviates any concerns I had.
If I'll just circle, just so everybody who's on, both on the Zoom call as well as here in the building, look at the screen. So it's this driveway right here, and it's this gate that slides right there, if you can follow my cursor. And then it's this driveway next to the main building, and it's this gate that will slide. There'll be landscaping in front. So as that landscaping grows up during the daytime, the gate will be less visible. And then the other component of the gate is actually back here. So everything that's sort of in this area here will be behind the locked gate, and then everything that's under here in the link, and then these vehicle spaces along Silver Spring would not be behind a gate.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, other members of the commission, any questions? Commissioner Cohen?
I have a question. On the east
You
side
need
of
to
the
move your
building,
microphone a little closer to you.
on the east side of the building, you're putting the gates. Why are you not concerned about the west side of your buildings?
The west side, so when we have, most of these gates are going to be open during operation. It's really just at night that we're going to close it. And they're going to move any high-value vehicles behind into the secure area. That's kind of the trade-off. So the cars that will remain are going to be, you know, this is a pre-owned, certified pre-owned. So most likely those will be on that west portion that's less secure. But the new, more valuable vehicles will be secured every night.
My only concern of all the dealerships that we have in Glendale, there's not a one that has a fence. And we're going to start a precedent of allowing a fence on this property. And what are we going to do when they start coming through from other dealerships?
So actually, just a minor correction. The fencing is mostly behind the property. It's just we're allowing some gates up at the very front end of the property. And Heiser actually has a separate lot that is fully fenced in, that's just behind City Hall here, behind the PD. The Andrew Chevy and Toyota has a huge fenced in area that is on Glen Park, that's back behind there, that's not out on the street. So what they're doing here is most of it is fenced in as behind, and the part that would be visible from the street is the decorative gating. So I mean, I think it is, I mean, Heiser and Andrew are both behind chain link fencing. So this is
But not visible from Silver Spring.
not visible from Silver Spring. And this, I mean, other than this isn't chain link, this is that nicer fencing. So
This fence here, I think it's going to be hidden by this building, this linkage building that was approved here. So I think that this is going to be very hard to actually see. You'll have to be looking for it. These two gates that are up here towards the front of Silver Spring, they are going to be a little bit more visible. The landscaping, if it's substantial, it should screen them during the day so they're not visible. But if you drive by in the evening and they've shut the gate, you'll see the gate.
There's also a slope in the back, so it slopes down several feet. And so that back portion will not only be concealed by the connector and the 5 rows of cars, but it's also, it's a 3.5-foot fence. I don't think anyone's going to see that.
any other questions from members of the commission? Commissioner Bailey?
Just a question on the attached document for Maverick ornamental iron. Do we have a design type that we're going forward with?
It's on this particular, this would be the,
Got it.
so there's a brochure attached, so you can see like the metal in real life, that's page 2, but this is the actual construction drawings that are part of the packet. And then this image, which this particular image is a little bit misleading. It does not have a brick base. It is not that tall, but it's just giving you a general reference that this is generally what it would look like in terms of color.
Yeah, I think the question though was in the brochure, there are a variety of different style names. There's Maverick one, there's Aberdeen, there's Barcelona, there's Canterbury. I was just wondering which Georgetown, which one of these are you going to be?
It's the Aberdeen.
Yeah, it's the more minimal, cleaner Aberdeen line. That's that first batch there. And that's the smaller of the fences.
And that actually, to me, then it blends in a little better with the very modern minimalist look that the new facade of the building has now, so. Okay. Any other questions from members of the commission? Commissioner Nelson?
Yes, thank you. I just want to clarify. So I see the Aberdeen. Is it that it will look like the photo in, what is this, the 8th picture? So it will be on the ground, or will it be lifted up on something like it is in Aberdeen?
Will be for the two closest to Silver Spring, it will be in a landscaping, so it'll be on the ground. There is no masonry base. And then the ones that are behind the linkage component are going to actually be in that parking area. So it'll be basically have the parking lot on either side of it.
Any other questions from members of the commission? Okay, well, we do have a recommendation from staff. This is a motion to approve the site plan review for fencing and landscaping. There are 2 conditions that staff outlined here in the memo. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Seligman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Nelson. Any further discussion or any questions from members of the commission? All right, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 yeses and 1 no. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, I get to vote in the plan commission. In the common council, I don't vote, but in the plan commission, I'm just a commissioner. I chair it, but I get a vote too. So okay. All right. Thank you, Fred. Appreciate it. Thank you for the Malik and folks from Lexus. All
Thank you,
right,
guys.
and then our final item this evening is the discussion with leadership from the North Shore Fire Department. We have been given conceptual site and building designs for a future fire station to be built right next door here. So I'm going to turn it over to staff first and then let the chief and the architect introduce themselves. So John, do you want to start?
Sure. Over the course of the last few months, staff and the fire department have had a number of conversations about the rebuilding of the fire station just to our south here from City Hall. We've gone through a couple different conceptual discussions about the site plan and circulation and relationship with the police department and public works and the needs of the fire department. So I think we've come to a site plan that works for both the city and the fire department and the other entities here at the city. So we will present, I'll leave that to the architect to kind of walk us through. And then the architecture, when we were talking about the site plan, I suggested that maybe it would be good to have a conceptual discussion early on to get some of your feedback. So there are only 2 drawings. They're not too far along with the conceptual building. The building's kind of still, some pieces are moving around and things like that. So don't get too focused on the actual 2 designs that you have, because it may be a little bit different as their analysis and interior starts to change. But it does represent what the concepts and the materials that they're currently thinking about. So they'd love to get some of that feedback from you so that as they move forward, they can kind of incorporate some of your thoughts in the process. So with that, I will turn it over. I'm going to bring up some of the other drawings on the Zoom call here, if you give me a minute, but I'll let you guys start.
Good evening. I'm Wallen Camp, CUNY Architect's Office. Thanks for having us here tonight. The goal is, as John mentioned, to get feedback from you guys to make sure we're going down the right path. Just highlighting the site, the existing fire station would be removed 100% for the new fire station to be constructed. The existing parking lot to the north of the existing station pretty much will remain as asphalt, but introducing some landscape islands and different circulation. We did work with staff to take the west road that's on the west side of the facility that access north and south to try to eliminate as much vehicle traffic along that access drive and leave that pretty much for police response and or firefighters coming or going to work. So everything on the west side of the facility is primarily for staff, the firefighters related to the
City Hall staff can still drive through there as well, right?
Exactly. That's
Okay.
the goal, and fire department can still.
Because they all park behind the buildings.
Yep. But primarily we looking for any visitors and things like that to kind of stay off that path and come off of Milwaukee Parkway.
Well, are you planning to put some signage there that says, official business only or official parking only or something like that?
Yeah, I think we'd work with you guys to come up with the proper signage that you'd be looking for.
Okay.
We do have access points to the repair bay of the facility. So the new facility will have a small repair bay. Primary entrance for that will be off the south, but we do have small vehicle access off the west side. And we also have a small garage, I'll call it, for a couple Suburbans and the smaller vehicles that the fleet has. None of these vehicles are emergency response vehicles. All the emergency response vehicles will remain coming off the south apron to the south as it exists today. That apron, the building does go farther to the south than the current footprint. But pretty much plenty of apparatus to back in before coming back from a call.
What is the square footage of the current building?
I knew you were going to ask that. Yeah, right under 20,000 square feet, and then we're going to about 40,000 square feet.
Right.
Yep.
But that also includes, part of that is the health department and the emergency operations center.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Just for the rest of the commission, I sit on the North Shore Fire Department board, and as we went into this discussion, one of the things that happened as the pandemic started was a realization that police, fire, and health department often have to coordinate things, especially in any sort of an emergency or a pandemic, any public health crisis, any major natural disaster. The three of them are often working together. And so wanted to have space here for the health department to be located in one place as opposed to in Brown Deer and Shorewood, and be able to have meeting space so that if there were an emergency, then fire, police, and health could all be able to be convened in the same place. We're also in the middle of a study right now among the 7 communities about potential consolidation of a police department into a North Shore Police Department. And so this would allow for that greater coordination as well. We may end up with, say if that happens, the chief of police may be right here, maybe in this building, but adjacent to the fire department so that they can work closely together. So that's why these drawings have some of the detail here with the health department and the significantly larger space. It's my fault. I started this conversation a couple of years ago and have been pushing for it. So anyways, I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, great, thanks.
Yep.
So the light blue on the floor plan that you're seeing is what the health department is slotted for. The renditions that you do see here, we did have opportunity to flip it from the original meeting with John and staff. So the renderings you are seeing are kind of the new location of the new entrance point. A large canopy. Our goal is to match a lot of the stone that's on your current building and on the current footprint of the fire station, and some architectural panels above the windows. The goal of the office piece is to have a lot of windows, so you can see the ribbon windows, but then the sleeping area would go to be more punched windows. The palette you'll see is on the bottom of the second sheet there, A104.C or 4.D. We're not looking for a fire engine red, but we're looking for some form of a red to accent the building. And then the architectural panels you'll see there is be similar to a limestone, which you see on your current building, your facility you have here today. Really, the goal is to get some feedback. So as we come to you, hopefully next month, we're kind of dialing in exactly what you want to see and what you're thinking. Thank you.
So obviously red for the fire department, I totally understand. But in terms of the precast, the stone is going to model the stone that's on the existing city hall and police department.
That's correct. The goal right now is to actually reclaim and reuse that stone if it's cost effective to do that.
Okay, and then the precast is going to blend in with the rest of this so that it all looks uniform. Is that
Correct.
correct?
That'll be like more of a limestone looking, similar to like your copings and different features that you have in this building.
Okay, yeah, that's my only concern is just, we've really worked hard with this. We're about to, we are prepared in the next couple of years to do a full renovation of the police department. While the stone on the outside won't change, there will be some painting and there will be a lot of cleanup of the stone. So all of 3 buildings, then the police department, the city hall, and then the fire department would all sort of blend together. Even though the fire department isn't attached to city hall the way the PD is, there's still be a uniform look on the campus.
And we appreciate that. And we're looking to keep that continuity between the two.
Okay. I will open it up then to, oh, sorry, did you have more you wanted to present
No,
before we start?
No, no,
Okay,
thank you.
Commissioner Cohen?
Good evening. What do you, the timeline that we're talking about? What are you shooting for as a timeline to start through the project?
We're currently looking to get out for bids as soon as we can. We got time frame to go through with the city and staff. But we have all the soil borings done. We have the survey done, looking to get in the site plan, stormwater management design, everything. So our goal is to get in front of you as soon as we can.
When the building is torn down, what happens to the station that's presently there for emergency?
We're looking for some temporary location currently in the general area. We've gone through 2 other remodel projects and other stations, and co-locating doesn't work well. It's basically staying in the building while it's under construction. We had a lot of challenges with that, one of the locations. So we are looking for something in the area. We've done some temporary location, like I guess I'll call it FEMA storm trailers that are nicer looking at both Shorewood and Whitefish Bay. Those have worked out well. So we've got a couple options, and I've been looking. In fact, the conversation with the Camden Road people was an interesting conversation, just to know that they have a space like that where we could get a garage. It's sort of a unique space we would need, because you need a garage, but you also need bathroom, showers, and somewhere that crews can sort of live for 24 hours. So it's not, it's a unique need. And we don't want to spend a lot of money on temporary location.
From the start to the end,
Yeah, once we break ground, we're looking between 10 to 12 months.
That's what city hall was. Right about 12 months. Other questions from members of the commission, other input? Commissioner Seligman.
It's just a very small note for your plans. It's not the old village hall, it's the town hall, town of Milwaukee Hall. That's just north of the facility.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I do actually, on that same map, the A14C, on the greenery, there's like some teal or whatever that aqua color in there. Are those going to be bioswales?
Yeah, currently the one that you put in will remain. That's the one north of our parking lot. The 2 paralleling to the east are areas of potential stormwater management, whether they're ponds, whatever, that's in the development mode.
And are you going to be using permeable pavers on part of the property? Because we did here at City Hall. So we worked with MMSD. So out front, all the bioswale, the rain garden, all those things were MMSD's input into what we did at City Hall. But one of the things we did on this back lot, just because you have multiple buildings and a lot of surface area, was go with the permeable pavers. Is that a part of this plan at all, even for part of the parking lot area?
All that's in the civil engineer's hands, and we're kind of looking at all the different areas that we need to meet the quantity and quality of the water management.
Okay. Because we've set some pretty high green goals, objectives for the city. So we'd want to make sure that the fire department building matches the things that we've done here in City Hall. So obviously building a building that is much more, I guess, is better equipped to be able to hold in energy. So we don't have the leakage here. We have a lot more insulation. We've put in a lot of features like the skylights, for example, out in the entryway there. Those aren't light fixtures. They're actual just skylights that bring in the natural light. As we've done a lot of this, all the windows are the specially treated windows that don't allow, that hold in the heat or the air conditioning, but also allow for a lot of natural light in the building. So those are the kind of design things we brought in. It looks like the designs you're presenting to us, all those windows, all those things, that looks very much uniform with what we've done here. And I'm assuming that in the building of the building, you're going to be looking at a lot of energy efficiencies to make sure that we're maximizing the green capability of the new construction.
That's correct. And we're having it modeled with focus on energy. We currently have actually been doing light studies already, just showing the department where we want gain of solar and where we don't want it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions from members of the commission? Any other input? Yeah, Commissioner Reek.
Questions. As far as the growth in the fire department, how much room are you leaving for more firefighters in the future?
Yeah, this station's actually designed to actually double in capacity.
Okay, thank you.
Any other input from members of the commission? Do you have any other questions for us? Any specific, things that maybe we didn't address that you would like answers to or direction?
Oh, just some guidance. Like I said, we're nailing on the architecture and our goal is to get in front of you for final approval. Obviously, the 45-day process, we're trying to narrow in and get that underway.
Okay, thank you. All right, there's not a motion here for approval of anything. This was just, getting our feedback on the concept. So thank you for coming in. Thank you for getting our input. Appreciate that. All right, thank you. All right, our next Plan Commission meeting will be on Tuesday, June 7th at 6 p.m. And with nothing else on the agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Moved by Commissioner Cohen. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reek. All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone.